Now, Dino, Graham Potter says he's ready to return to football management as speculation intensifies over the potential of him replacing Gareth Southgate in the England dugout. Speaking after receiving an honorary doctorate by Leeds Beckett University for services to sport, Potter said, "I spoke to a few clubs, but it wasn't the right thing. It was important I was patient and waited for the right opportunity and took the time with the family to reflect and think about what I wanted to do. Now I'm in that good place where I'm happy to be ready and looking forward to the next challenge." What will that challenge be is the question. Joining us now for more is a man who played plenty of times for Potter at Brighton. It's Dale Stevens. Dale, good morning.
Morning, Dale.
Good morning to you both. How are you?
Very good, very good.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure you've obviously been hearing about all the links to this now vacant England job, and Graham Potter is one of those. As someone that played under him, could you see him being a good fit?
Yeah, I could, to be fair. I think he's got a similar mold to how Gareth is. I think he's a lot about the character of the team and the personalities within it, and what Gareth's built is probably the togetherness of the team. So he's probably somebody he could carry the baton with. But what I think he is he's a really top coach and a really intelligent guy. And I think probably what we missed a little bit, especially during the Euros, was probably more a bit of identity of about what we're going to see from our team. And I think in terms of that respect, I think Graham would be perfect.
Yeah, and I think he's been waiting. I think he's been interviewed by Ajax twice. He's been waiting for the right job, and it's all about timing your run. And right now, I think he's timed his run. If he gets offered that job, Dale, he can't really refuse that job. You don't get offered the England job very often. He's got to take it, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he would take it. It would be an amazing opportunity for him. I think what he would have, and what any manager who's a really good coach, the challenge they will have is, they don't really get too much time, do they, on the training field with the players?
No.
I think one of Graham's biggest attributes is how much control he's got over every training session. From what we had at Brighton, he'd be taking the passing drills, he'd be taking the small sided games, he'd take everything just to make sure everything was how he wanted and what he wanted to see from the team. And I think with the challenges of that, especially around tournament football, you don't really train that often. It's more like recovery days and game prep. So how much effect he could have in a short space of time in terms of international windows and tournaments would be a challenge, but he's definitely the man with all the tools to do the job.
I mean, one thing I would say, looking at his stats at Brighton in comparison to Roberto De Zerbi, which I know he was there for less time, De Zerbi, is that maybe he, with Graham Potter, didn't necessarily get Brighton scoring plenty of goals. And that was perhaps one of the issues that Gareth Southgate had, with that he couldn't get that forward line clicking. Is that a potential problem for Graham Potter, in that there wasn't plenty of goals scored? I mean, if you look at Roberto De Zerbi's first season in charge, they scored 72 goals, Brighton, in comparison to what the league high of 42 when Graham Potter was in charge.
Yeah, but I think the context of it, I think Graham took over a team that was very naturally defensive anyway, initially. So he probably had the harder job in terms of creating what Brighton are now. In terms of De Zerbi took the baton from a team that was playing similarly to probably how he wanted them to play. But obviously added his magic in terms of scoring goals, because they were clearly more prolific underneath De Zerbi. But like I say, I think Graham's is a really intelligent guy, and he has got that control over players and how they perform in a certain system in a certain way, and he's got the intelligence to change things when things need changing. I think that was probably a large critic of Gareth over the tournament, and just the challenge might be in terms of how much influence he can have over a shorter period of time.
And Dale, as footballers ourselves, I find myself thinking to myself of different things, like, from everything from tactics to Jadon Sancho's situation. What would my ex-managers say about that? What would Graham Souness do? What would Ron Atkinson do? Mm-hmm. You've played under him. What do you think Graham Potter would do with this group of England players? Would he go all out attack, or would he? What do you think he would do?
Well, without going gung ho, I think you'd see a brand which would be entertaining. It'd be playing out from the back. I don't think you see. What I was critical of, straight from the centre kick, we'd roll it back to Jordan Pickford, he would just boom up the pitch. I don't think he'd have much of that under Graham, and he'd find a way to be expansive but not over expansive, where you're taking risks at the back. But it'd be a brand of football that the country would enjoy watching for sure.
One of the big pluses for Gareth Southgate is the culture change that he brought into the England setup. We've spoken about it many times this week since his departure, and about how he got rid of all the cliques, and it seemed as though everything was really unified. And even, in fact, I think the fans, we sort of all fell in love with England once again, because you just felt there was such a positive atmosphere around the squad and the camp. Is Graham Potter similar in that sense when it comes to the person behind the manager?
Yeah, for sure. And to be honest, I'd not really seen that much before I obviously played for Graham. He had a run of pre-season, had 6 to 8 weeks of trying to get to know everybody. We did exercises similar to Gareth in terms of we went away for pre-season, we're in the hotel, and there were exercises that you had to get to know each other's family. It was away from football. So he is big, and he knows there's a place to play for that. And I'm sure he would leave no stone unturned in terms of what can gain advantage, and obviously Gareth has done that. So that is something he'll probably run with in terms of getting the best out of his players. And but the biggest thing I think what we could probably improve on from the Euros is the way we're going to set up and play, and the bravery to go out and attack. I think we saw in the Euros where we had so much to lose, we sort of regressed a little bit. And I think the difference between both managers would be probably the bravery to go and win football matches.
Yeah, I mean, I think as football's developed, we seem to be not obsessed, but most people are concerned about style of play now. I think Gareth Southgate just went, this is the way Italy win European titles. This is the way they win the World Cup. This is the way they grind out results. They're not scoring 3s and 4s. I think he went down that route of, if I keep the back door shut, we've got players on the pitch who can win us games. I think that's what he's done. So, and I know how hard it is managing. I wouldn't criticise him for that, but it was hard to watch at times. And as Dale said, Graham Potter's he will get him playing better, more attractive football.
Well, we hope so anyway, Dale, don't we? From an England perspective anyway.
No, that's what I mean. I think it's not about playing attractive football. I think Graham and most modern managers now believe that is the way to win football matches. And it's not a brand of football; it's about winning football matches. And Graham certainly is that kind of manager to think the way he sets up and the way he plays will ultimately win football matches. But it is also good to watch.
Really interesting to talk to you this morning, Dale. Thank you for being with
Dale.
us.
No, no problem.
That's the former Brighton midfielder Dale Stephens giving us a little bit of insight to Graham Potter. I like to know about the man as well behind.
Me?
No, Dale was
Dale
giving
did.
us.
Oh, right. Yeah, he did, yeah.
You didn't offer us any insight into
Well, I don't know him. I don't know him.
I
I just think they have to find someone. Bear in mind, when the fans are watching, they know England have got bigger guns than everybody else they're playing against. They expect the team to win because of that.
Yes.
So it's playing the right guns at the right time during the game.
And I suppose it's instilling fear into the opposition.
Well, it's
because of
looking
the
on
big
your
guns.
bench as well and saying, what have I got
Yeah.
on the bench that's going to hurt the opposition? And that's what he's been criticised for, not using it.
Yeah. All right, up next, we're going to look ahead to 2 more huge quarterfinals at the World Match Play Darts, which is live on talkSPORT 2 tonight.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.